What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning into my channel, Jace's Own World. I just got back from work right now, and I'm pretty pumped. As you could probably tell from the title of this video, why I'm pumped. This thing has been driving me nuts for the last 2.5 years. If you've been watching my channel, like at least in the last 10 videos or 15 videos or something like that, you would know that I've been having an irritated time trying to figure out the bucking, the hesitation on this car. Dude, I have done so much stuff to this car. And thanks to the power of the internet, I've been able to figure it out. Well, I didn't really figure it out. Someone else figured it out for me and messaged me. But before we go and talk about that, I'm just like super pumped. And when I get pumped, I like start moving like crazy. It's just like all over the place. Like, whoo, I'm the same way in like nursing school. Like when we have like a skill and we had to like present in front of our, in front of our professors and all sorts of stuff. I just like start jumping up. And that's like, that's just me. But anyways, let's get right to this. Actually, before we get into the car, look at the car. Look at the car. It's dirty. I know the car's dirty. It needs some love right now. It needs some love. Yeah, so before we get into this, for any of you that is not up to date on my car and what's been happening with me for the last 2.5 years in this dang car, I'll explain to you what was happening, what I did to remedy it, and, all the stuff, including going to the internet, the forums, and searching and spending hours and money on top of that to remedy this situation. So, and then I'll show you what it was and explain to you what has just fixed the bucking. All right, so let's first talk about what has been happening to my car for the last 2.5 years. I was driving for work one day, and the car started like hesitating. It wasn't under any heavy throttle, and it didn't matter what gear it was in. It would hesitate on very light throttle. So if this is like no throttle and I'm on it, like just that much would cause a bucking. But it wasn't like, it didn't happen every time. It was so intermittent. And there were no codes that were popping up. So I was just like, I wonder if, something with the ignition coil or spark plug or something like that. Something basic that we all kind of like, we kind of resort to when we have ignition type of stuff, feels like. And so I was like, so I didn't think anything of it. And so I kept on driving, and throughout, pretty much months, it progressively started getting worse to where some days it would probably buck 100 plus times. But then other days it would only buck like once or twice or not at all. It was really weird. It was just so weird. It seemed like the car would buck more the hotter it was outside. So that was kind of odd. And so I just couldn't pinpoint it. But I knew that there was something wrong with my car. But like I said, there was no codes popping up. I would even pull up VCDS and hook that up to my car, and I would check for codes on there. And I would check with my generic code reader and check on codes on there, just in case they didn't align with each other and VCDS was sensing something more than my generic scan reader would sense. And there was nothing. It was nothing. The only codes that were on my car were for the secondary air injection, because at that time the pump was basically on its way out, and then I eventually removed that. So the car would buck, but it would only, like, even on cruise control, without my foot putting any pressure on the gas pedal, it would buck sometimes. And it seemed like if the car was accelerating up a slight hill, and then it would come over a hump, and then like it would decelerate. It wouldn't decelerate, but it would let off the gas, and that's when it would be like, buck, or something like that. It was really, really odd. And so this went on for like probably a good year until I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I started diving into my car and trying to fix it. So what I did, man, I'm probably going to miss some of the things that I did because there's so much stuff that I did to remedy this. But if I can remember, I'll just start off with what I can remember because I didn't write any of this down. So I first started with the ignition coils and the plugs. And so I bought brand new ignition coils and the plugs. I wasn't having any misfire codes or anything like that, but I figured I might as well start there. So I bought brand new ignition coils and plugs. When I removed the plugs, I noticed that there was some oil in my plugs. And so from there, I eventually did a reseal of the valve cover gasket. Maybe I was getting a leak somewhere that was causing the bucking because of the gas and stuff. I don't know. Something was causing bucking that I thought, well, I did the ignition coils and the plugs. Then I resealed the valve cover gasket and the bucking didn't stop. Well, maybe it could have been like engine mounts related or transmission mount related. So I eventually had to do a new clutch. This is probably 2 years ago. And so I did a new clutch and I replaced all the bolts, all the one-time use bolts, and I inspected the transmission mounts and the engine mounts and they were still good. So I didn't replace those. I did that new clutch job and it didn't fix the bucking. So I was like, okay, it's not anything to do with like the flywheel or anything like that. So then I decided to, what else did I decide to do? Oh, there was an O2 sensor code that was popping up for some odd reason. So I replaced the O2 sensor with a brand new OEM O2 sensor, and it was the Bank 1 O2 sensor. That didn't fix anything. And at this time, the car was starting to like lean out really bad and stall sometimes. So when I fixed that, and it had to do with the O2 sensor, I thought. So I replaced that O2 sensor, and then it was still stalling. It was driving better, but it was still stalling. And so I replaced the map sensor and the stalling went away. But then eventually the car was, like if I would put any load on the car up a hill, did not matter what gear it was, except first gear, but like second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth gear. If I put any load going up a hill, like on a little climb, the car would go immediately into EPC mode. So after a lot of research on that, I figured, well, it's probably injectors because I also tested my injectors with VCDS and it didn't seem like they were testing out right. That the flow wasn't as good. Maybe I had something stuck open. So I decided to put new injectors in there, which was not a bad job. And so I replaced all the injectors. In the meantime, I also did a carbon cleaning and I put it all back together and that didn't fix the bucking, but it did fix the stalling issues and the EPC light coming on going up a hill on anything with load. So that fixed all of that. The only thing that was now still there was the bucking, which sucked. So I eventually went and I did, what else did I do? Oh, I sent my tuner some logs so that he could see the RPM just going wacky when it would buck. And maybe he could figure out something. Maybe it was a bad fuel pump or a sensor somewhere or something like that. I really didn't know, but I sent him the logs and he looked at the logs and he said that the logs looked great, that I didn't have any fueling issues or anything like that. So I ruled that out. I ruled anything on the logs out as an issue that was causing the bucking. So I was like, well, maybe there's some grime and stuff from like just over the years of use in my intercooler and in my charge pipes and stuff like that. So I removed all of my charge pipes. I removed my intercooler and we cleaned those all out, put it all back together, still didn't fix the bucking. So at this point, I'm just like, bro, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff that a lot of people do not do with their cars. I do it because I take care of my cars. And I have 147,000, almost 500 miles. So 147,500 miles on my car right now. And I have 0 check engine lights. It's probably because I take care of my car and I kind of go over the top. The only thing that really has been bothering me is the stupid clutch, but you guys know about that because of my last videos. So basically what I'm trying to say is I do take care of my car. I always have taken care of my cars really well, and it drives great, but it's the dang bucking. And so I've done a plethora of stuff, as you guys just listened to, a plethora of stuff to fix this bucking issue, and I've just been lost. I've also been going to the forums for the last 2.5, it seems like 3 years almost now, that this issue has been going on with my car. And I haven't found anything. I haven't found anything on the forums where someone was saying I was having a very similar issue to mine, and I was able to find it. I was finding forum threads where they said that they had similar issues, but then the thread would just die. And then the OP's kind of like, the OP just is gone, and nobody even knows like if he ever got it fixed or not, because he never updated it with the fix. And that's it's just a personal thing about me and forums, is that there's so many threads, and it seems like it's just like a matter of wits, who wants to try to be the most sarcastic, who can be the rudest. It's just the whole internet game where people would say stuff like on the internet where they wouldn't say it in person to the person that they're talking to on the internet, you know? And I just didn't like that about the forums. And then there's so many threads, you're like, ooh, this looks like a good thread, and then it just stops. Or the really long threads end up really good, and then they just get into a battle of wits and sarcasm and just stuff that makes no sense to the subject at matter. So it's just really stupid. So I basically have left the forums because of that, because I mean, honestly, I have found very, very little amount of good information on the forums that have actually helped me out with this car. I don't know if it's a VW thing. I know in the BMW forums, certain models like the M3, they don't get stupid like these kids do in the VW forums. Same with like the Genesis forums, because I'm currently looking at a Genesis G70 3.3 twin turbo right now to trade this car in for. And they're very nice. The people there, they're not as knowledgeable. Maybe that's a good thing, because the more knowledge you have, the more stupid you become on the internet, it seems like. Anyways, I'm going on a rant, but that's the main reason that I don't like the forums, and I've basically left the forums. So after, you know, hours and hours and probably hundreds of hours on the forums and getting nowhere with this car, with the bucking issue, I just left. So anyways, yeah, I was just like, I don't know what it is. Oh, and the thing that really sucks about it all, the bucking issue, is through the last 2.5, 3 years or whatever it's been that I've had this issue, I've also installed meth on it. I have a video on me installing that. And so I installed the tank and stuff, but I've never been tuned for it, because I did not want to make a meth tune with a car that is hesitating, bucking, because I didn't know if it was like an internal engine issue. It didn't feel like it was internal, but I didn't know. I didn't know if it was internal, if it was electrical, if it was just a stupid part that just wasn't throwing a code or whatever. I did not know. So I did not want to make the tune. I mean, I did want to make the tune, but my tuner advised me not to make the tune. So I've just been having this boost juice just sitting up there. It's been stored up there. I bought this boost juice so long ago, and literally, you know it's boost juice because it says it. Where is it? It says it right there. Boost juice. Let me open it. This is the first time I've opened it. Boom. 4 gallons boost juice. Right here. Okay. This has been sitting up there for about a year and a half now. And it sucks, because that was something that I really wanted to do to this car for the longest time. Like, me and my buddies made a nice custom install where we did the meth, we hooked the meth pump into the front. We custom made a bracket in the front, so it's hiding behind the front bumper. I ran all the lines, and I ran the line to the windshield washer fluid tank from the factory. instead of adding the tank and putting it in the trunk like most installs. And so that way I could use, utilize the the controls in the cabin, and then when the tank gets low, it has the trigger light come on in the cabin from the factory. And so it's working all great. Everything's great, but I haven't been able to run it because of the stupid bucking on my car. So it's just been irritating because I've been wanting to like use this stuff so bad and like get a real tune for it and like feel the power of a 91 octane. I don't want to do E85 because it's just too far from me. We have it, but it's just too far for me, and I don't want to have to go way out of the way to fill up on E85, especially when you get worse gas mileage with E85. So I didn't want to do that. But with 91 octane and a meth tune, and then my tuner doing all that stuff, and then also since then, I'm tuned through Maestro, through Eurodyne, and since then, Eurodyne has basically accessed tuners to give burble tunes on their program, which they didn't allow 2+ years ago or something like that. So now my tuner can, doing a meth tune would be able to give me more power, and I would be able to feel that, and it would be awesome. It'd be awesome to have a 400 wheel horsepower GTI, right? But also to have a burble tune on downshifts, not like a pops and bangs. I don't want that because I know that ruins engines. I've already had several friends blow their engines because of that. But the burbles would be awesome on the downshift. So that would be cool. So I've wanted all this stuff, and I just haven't been able to have it. And it's just sucked because of this stupid bucking. So I've basically put that off for the longest time, for the last year and a half that I've had this meth injection kit from AEM installed in my car. So it's just been a process, and it kind of has put me off with the car with it now just being like with the clutch going out, the last couple weeks. And then it's just been like fixing stuff. And then I'm like, oh, cool, it's cool, but I don't want to blow up my engine because I don't know what this bucking issue is. Well, anyways, it's just been a process. And now I've been like, crap, should I sell it? Because I don't want to deal with it anymore. But we got some good news, good freaking news. I made a video. I had a guy named Trevor. Shout out to you, Trevor. He has an Instagram page called Midnight MK6, all lowercase. I'll plug it in the description there. Super cool. So he messaged me about a week ago and said, hey, have you fixed your bucking? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I think I might have fixed it for you. Or found out the fix for you. He was having a similar issue. So he found a forum thread. He sent me a message on one of my videos, and he said, it might be your purge valve. And I'm like, what do you mean purge valve? He's like, the purge valve that goes to your PCV, system. And I was like, what? No way, it can't be that easy. He's like, well, I've been having the same type of issues as you, and I found a thread that pointed me to the purge valve, and so I disconnected the plug to the purge valve, and it's basically fixed like 90% of his issues on his bucking. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And so what he did is he bought a new purge valve and he installed it, and he hasn't had any bucking since. And I was like, there's no way it can't be that easy, because the purge valve is literally sitting right on top of the engine. I'll show you right here after I describe this. So I was like, okay, well, let me try that out. Might as well, since it's right on top of the engine. So let's get to the engine right here, and I'll show you where the purge valve is. All right, so come over to the hood. Very, very simple, guys. Bam. And as you can see, I have 3 red tops and 1. I don't know why. Because it runs great, and I don't really care how it looks. So judge me. I don't care. Put it in the comments. Judge me. But anyways, this is your purge valve right here. This is your PCV, okay? Purge valve. And what a purge valve does, from the little bit of research that I've done, so if I get this wrong, you can call me out or don't quote me. But, a lot of this stuff, I kind of barely know what I'm talking about. But anyways, so what the purge valve does is this hose goes to your fuel tank, and your fuel tank vapors come through this hose, all right? And the fuel tank vapors basically come into here, and what this purge valve does is it redirects those vapors into your PCV, which goes into your engine, and is basically for emissions. So that those fuel vapors don't just release out into the atmosphere and, you know, do that whole emission stuff out in the atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. But that's what a purge valve does. And so as you can see here, it's sitting right here. It's very accessible, very easy. And I unplugged it. And when I unplugged that, for the last 4 days, I've had it unplugged. And literally the moment I unplugged it, I'm about to cry. It didn't buck. I'm a horrible actor. It didn't buck. Yes. It's so rad. So the car didn't buck, and I was like, there's no way it could be this easy. And so on the third day, I decided to plug it back in. And I'm like, it can only be this easy if I plug it back in and the car starts bucking again. So I plugged it back in. I was driving it, and 5 minutes later, it started bucking again. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So it started bucking again. So what did I do? I pulled over. I unplugged it again. Didn't change anything. And I've had it unplugged for the last day and a half or so. And I've been driving it like a lot for work and with school. Hasn't bucked. It has not bucked. So I think I think the issue has been fixed. Thanks to Trevor. And that's what I love about the internet. I make these videos to help you guys out. And sometimes you guys help me out. And Trevor, godsend, holy crap. Good thing, I'm glad he fixed it. I'm glad he fixed his car, because in the process he fixed my car. And so basically I have gone on to FCP Euro. They're only like $80 for a new purge valve. It's basically stuck open is what it is. So $80 for a new purge valve, and it's going to be on its way, and I'm just going to install it. And look how easy that is of an install. Literally right there. Unplug, take that off, take it from this little harness thing right here. Just slide it off, and it's fixed. That easy. After all of that stuff I've done, it was a little tiny purge valve. Oh my gosh. I'm not stressed out, but it just amazes me. Like, why did that not throw a code? Why? I don't know. I do not know. Like, if it just threw a code, it would have been fixed a long time ago. And I would have been running a meth tune on this thing and having the time of my life. But no. VW wants to make freaking engines that don't throw codes. I know it's not a VW thing, but it's just stupid. Just stupid. But I'm just really excited that I finally have figured it out. Well, I didn't figure it out. Trevor did, and he helped me. And but he never would have messaged me if I never made my videos, right? So I'm not saying it's on me. I'm not saying I'm like great. I'm just saying it's like the world turning. You put in some effort, and sometimes you get some effort back, and it's great. So yeah, I'm excited. So now the crazy thing is for the past couple of weeks with the stupid clutch, I've been thinking of selling my car. And now that the clutch is working amazing, and now that I have the bucking issue fixed on this car, and I can do a meth tune finally, I'm like, should I sell my car now? Like, it's almost paid off. Just a few more months. I don't really want another monthly payment, but I also don't want to have to do another stupid clutch on this car. So I'm like, what do I do? Do I not care about it and just remove everything now and not do a meth tune? But then I 100% know for a fact, now that this bucking issue has been figured out and I have the ability to do a meth tune on it without thinking that I'm going to blow up my engine, I 100% know that if I do not do the meth tune on this car and feel raw power in it, I know 400 wheel horsepower isn't a lot to a lot of you, but it's still dang fast, guys. That's still dang fast. And I just want to feel that power in this car. And if I don't do that and I sell the car, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret it for probably the rest of my life, because I know I'll have money in the future. I'll have nice cars and stuff like that. But, you know, there's something about cars that you have that are like milestones in your life. Like right now, a milestone in my life has been getting into nursing school. And the whole process of getting into nursing school, and now that I'm in it, I've had this car the whole time. So it's like a piece of me. Like, it's been great. Even though I've had to fix a lot of stuff on it, it's been great. And I like it. I enjoy it a lot. But I know it's kind of like a money pit in some ways. So it's like, you know, like, but I know if I sell it now without doing a meth tune on it, at least before I sell it, I'm going to regret it. So I think I'm going to do a meth tune. I'm going to get it. When that part comes, I'm going to install it, see how it dries. If it dries perfectly fine, then boom, going straight into a meth tune. And I'll work around that with my tuner. And I just want to enjoy that. I put a lot of work into it. I spent a lot of money on it, and I want to enjoy the fruits of all my hard work and all of the fun that I've had with it. So, and take it out to a canyon and do some stuff with it, you know? So that's where I'm at. But I just wanted to make this video. I know it's long, but probably long awaited for quite a few of you. And so if you are having similar issues with your car, GTIs, VWs, Audis, or anything really, like, because purge valves are common on a lot of vehicles, a lot. So if you are watching this video and you've been having some hesitation and bucking issues on your car and you're not getting any codes and you've done all this stuff and you don't know what it is, or if you haven't even done anything on it, but you've come across my videos and you're wondering what it could be on your car, check your purge valve. Check your PCV system, check your purge valve. And if it's cheap enough, just replace it, you know, or disconnect it and see if the bucking goes away like I did. If it did, there you go. There's your YouTube fix. We all get that, right? We all go to YouTube for a lot of things, and I know I do. To fix my car, I go to a lot of videos, and that's how I've learned how to fix a lot of the stuff on my car. So like I said, I'm super thankful for Trevor. Thank you for reaching out to me, and I'm glad that I finally have gotten this fixed. Let's get this meth tune going. Let's go. Let's get it going. Let's do some polls, make some videos, make some shorts of the speedometer just going nuts on this IS-38 car. And it's pretty basic. IS-38 in today's world, pretty basic for a Mark 7 GTI, right? But if you never ridden in one, it's pretty freaking fast. Like even with the new clutch that I have, the X clutch stage 2 clutch, in my last video, I stated that it feels like I have more power, and I'm still just using the 87 octane tune, only pushing 22 PSI, and it feels fast. Like, it's fast. It almost feels faster than my 91 octane tune on my South Bend stage 3 endurance clutch. It's grabbing that good. Or maybe the car's just running really good right now, but it's fast. So I can't imagine it being with another 30 to 40 wheel horsepower. It's going to be super fun, and I'm excited for that. And the great thing is boost juice isn't even expensive, and it doesn't even use a lot. It doesn't even use a lot. It's great. So I'm going to end the video here. Once again, thank you for watching. I hope this helped any of you on any clarification. I will do another update once that new part arrives and I install it, and so you can look forward to me making another video on that. But as far as everything right now, I'm pretty sure it's fixed. Just need that part coming in. And until the next video, I will see you later. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your dislikes. Thank you for your subscribes and hitting that notification bell. I appreciate all that. I thank you for all of your comments, all of your comments that mean something to me and then are just whatever. Like, I love helping you out, and I enjoy getting your help. So I will see you, and until the next video, peace.